Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of videos about games and the people who played them. And now, here's your host, Joe Steadman.
Hello, this is Joe Steadman, and today I want to talk about a newer game. The game's got a lot of reviews already and things, but I've not talked about it yet. And there's a coming expansion, so I want to review that as well. But before I did the expansion, I thought I'd talk about the base game. Now, that would be Conflict of Heroes: Awakening of the Russian Bear, or Awakening of the Bear, 1941 to 1942, by Hugh Eckert. Now, I met Hugh at Origins 2009. He is actually a Eurogamer who designed a war game. So you're gonna be able to tell when you get this game, or if you look at this game, that there's a lot of Euro elements to it, especially in the bits. Now the box, this is by Elfinworks. The box comes pretty big size here. Let's see what's in the box. First of all, you have the rules. The rules are huge, full color, lots of examples of play. On the back's got every little piece in the game and explain what they do. The rules are pretty well laid out. It's got, the rules are in black. There's in red are examples, and in blue are little designer notes why he did certain things that he did. I think that's pretty cool. The rules the rules are broken up like a Euro game where it's phases. Like learn this many rules, and then you can play scenarios. Then learn more rules and play. I think it's broken into 3 different levels of play. That's good for a new wargamer, but if you're an experienced wargamer like me, I just read the whole rule book and played right off the bat with the advanced rules. So that's the rules. This is the scenarios, which are all laid out turn by turn. Another huge booklet. The size of this thing. Now the boards. The boards are full color, mounted, which is rare nowadays. Good high quality boards. I didn't have any problems with warping or anything like that. I really like the boards. The game comes with, let's see, that's the expansion part. I'll talk about that in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full sets of 5 boards. And then this is the swamp board that I got at Origins. This is an expansion board for the base game. It comes with 2 generic dice, a deck of cards, and your counters. It comes with a 2 Soviet score sheet or track sheets and 2 German, because the game can be played with 4 players, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's a 2-player game. Gameplay. Now, how does the game play? It is a action point game, meaning that there's no downtime, because one player takes actions and the opponent can do reactions at the same time as his turn, and one piece at a time. And then you go to the next piece and you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So there's little downtime in the game. It's not I move all mine, then you move all yours. You use action points, and everything that you do for a unit has specific action points. And so as you do actions, your action points will move down. And your opponent, after every action point spent, your opponent can possibly do things, and so you have to pause between each action point, similar to ASL or Command or Combat Commander. Also, you have, based on a scenario, certain amounts of command action points, which are you get a certain amount per turn, and then at the end of each turn those will recharge, and if you lose units you'll have less of those per turn. But those command action points allow you to give individual units a few more points if they need to. Let's suppose that there's only 1 action point left and that unit wants to fire its weapons and it takes 2 action points. Well, you can pay 1 of the units plus 1 of the commands, and you only get those for the entire team, so 1 per turn, so you got to use those wisely. I do like that a lot. It means that you're never down and out, even if your units say. And it's a lot like an area impulse game, because this game is an exhaustion game. Basically, after a unit has done its action points, or if it's responded to an enemy, it's flipped over to its used side, similar to Storm over, or similar to Turning Point Stalingrad or Breakout Normandy. Another thing is you keep track of victory points right on these boards here. So each player keeps track of victory points, and by moving the victory point marker down the board. And there's no central victory point thing. So each player will keep track of their own victory points. and who has the most wins. And you get victory points for killing enemy units and for controlling control markers, and those will flip. And there's no set spots like Combat Commander where there's victory points. The scenarios will dictate where victory points, and you simply move the control marker to that in the beginning of the game. And then whoever touched it last, kind of like playing tag or capture the flag, it'll flip over. Now, let me zoom in here on the map and show you some stuff.
Another thing, these are really big counters. These are inch-by-inch counters, much bigger than you're going to see in your typical war game. So it's kind of nice. They're really high quality. And an interesting aspect I didn't mention is the way that damage is taken. If you get fired at and you fail, you have to draw randomly one of the damage markers. Each one has different results, and you flip it over. And that'll give you the modifications to your unit. If you have to do that twice, then you die. So if you have 2 yellow things, you die, no matter what they say on them. And vehicles are the same. If your vehicle takes a hit, then you simply flip over the vehicle marker there, and it'll tell you what happens to your vehicle. Some of them, it may be an instant death, and same as the infantry, if you draw 2, you die automatically. So I think Uwe has designed a pretty good game. That's how you pronounce his name, and I think I said it wrong earlier.
Okay. Now, here we have a Soviet tank, light tank, and you'll see at the top of the counter the little green box. This game is like a miniatures game because facing is actually important, unlike most of your other tactical board games that we have out there for World War II. Now, facing is important, so it exerts, it can see going out in a cone from the front of the unit. So things behind it are the flank. And if you attack a unit from the flank, you're going to get bonuses, and you can only attack units that you can see in your front cone. So orientation is actually important, which makes for a lot of neck twisting when you're playing the game, but it's interesting. So this tank, it's his turn. He uses action points to move, and he's got the counter will explain how much things cost. So it's 1 action point to move for this vehicle, and he's going down the road, and so right now he goes 1 action point to here. Now once he's here, he can keep going, or he can do his next action, but this German squad that's in this building can now see that tank, and so it can interrupt his turn because he spent a point, and he can attack. Now, he would be attacking this guy's frontal armor, and he would be doing it with infantry weapons, and so there's going to be a very simple mechanic is if you attack a armor target with a soft attack, it's going to be halved, and vice versa. If you shoot an armor-piercing round at infantry, it's going to be halved. They're very simple but very efficient. The counters themselves are going to show you right on them the attack value, the defense value, the frontal attack. If you attack the front, it's a 14. The rear is a 13. Attacking soft targets and hard targets. The range is that little 8 and a star there. The cost of fire is up here, a 5. Costs 5 action points to fire. And unlike other games, which is kind of neat here, you can fire multiple times with a unit depending on if you have action points. So an MG42 is very cheap to fire. You can fire that baby 3 or 4 times in a turn, whereas the tank, you only start off with 7 action points, and so the tank is only going to get to uses 5, which is most of its things just to fire its gun. That's the basics of the gameplay. Now, as you get into the more advanced rules, there's cards that you can use that will let you do certain things on your turn or give you objectives and things. Adds a little bit more flavor to the game. I like the cards. I'm sure there's other small rules I'm leaving out. But basically the game is a high quality game that reminds me of a miniatures game combined with Combat Commander or ASL. I would definitely recommend the game. I like it a lot. I think it fills a niche for me in the miniature side that I don't get to play anymore. And if you already got a lot of I got a lot of tactical games. I like tactical games. I've got a lot of them. But this one will actually see table time because I like it that much. Can't complain about it.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.